Hey right brainers and creatives, I'm Amy, and on this channel we talk about how your creative gift has value. We're in the middle of a series on organization because I found that many creatives struggle with organization and they feel like that's one of the things that holds them back from starting their own business or from making money with their artistic skills. So what we've talked about so far in this series is, first of all, decluttering and purging, how to let go of some things so you just don't have so much stuff piling up that you have to deal with. Creating systems that are easy, that are simple to use, something that you can do and stick with easily. Next, we dealt with creating systems that are flexible so that you have a lot of flexibility as a creative person and you don't feel so bogged down with a rigid system. Now today we're going to talk about creating systems that are sustainable, because no matter how great your system is, if you don't stick with it, just like a diet, it won't do you any good unless you stick with it. All right. So when we break it down, when it comes to sustainability of your organizing system, there are two areas where you can have failure. One area is in what I'll call border control, and that's not letting so much stuff come in. So you need to just be careful how much stuff is coming in. If there's more and more stuff coming in, it's going to be impossible to stay organized. The other one is maintenance. That's just kind of continuing to check in, put things where they go, and make sure that your system is still working. So we're going to talk about those two things. So the first front we're going to talk about is border control, and what you need to do in order to keep your system sustainable is to have less stuff coming in. We've done all this work to kind of give everything a home and figure out what our systems are. Now you've got to keep that status quo as much as possible by not having too much stuff coming in. So here it's going to take a little self-discipline. There are a couple of different kinds of things that can come in and start to ruin our systems. Some of them are things that you don't control what comes in, and some of them are the things that you do control, that you choose to bring into your house. So one of the main things that you don't control is paper clutter, things that come in the mail and things that get sent from kids' school and stuff like that. That is the bane of my existence. The paper clutter is so frustrating. So there are a few things, typical things that you should be doing for sure to just try and kind of manage it. One is try and go paperless on everything that you can, so you're not just having these masses of papers coming in constantly. Go paperless as much as possible. And the other one, you can look at the system called O.H.I.O, which stands for Only Handle It Once. So when you get the mail, anything that needs to be recycled or shredded, you do that immediately as soon as you walk in the door with it so that it's not going into a pile somewhere. So try to only handle those things once, clear out the stuff immediately that you know can go. Maybe have like a box that you keep everything that comes from kids' school or from work, or things that you have a lot of paper coming in from, that you immediately put those things into so you know right where they go as soon as they enter your doorway. That will help you not have quite as much paper clutter coming in constantly. The second category of things that we need to work on not bringing into our house are the things that you choose to bring, to buy, or to pick up to bring into your home. And the two main categories that we kind of have to work on are clothing and groceries, because those are things we do need to have. You need to get some of those things, but how do we kind of control how much comes in, and what stays? So in the case of clothes, I want to encourage you to try and stop shopping just for fun or for retail therapy. Shop for the things that you need and ask yourself if you really need something. Don't go to the mall just for fun and start spending money. Or for some of us, our weakness isn't the mall, it's more like thrift stores, trying to find some good, cool, weird thing. I know a lot of us artists are suckers for thrift stores. And I have that same problem. In my town, there's a thrift store where it's only open twice a month, but everything there is between $1 and 25 cents. Everything in the whole place. And that is like so hard to resist sometimes. In fact, when I first discovered that place, I started kind of bringing home a few shirts here and there, and it wasn't long before my closet started filling up. So one thing that I did to try and help myself with that was to have a hanger quota, and I encourage you to try this. So I went to a discount store like TJ Maxx or Ross, and I bought a couple of packages of those nice velvet hangers, and it was about the number that I thought should be what's in my closet at any given time. And now when I do laundry, once I'm running out of those hangers, I realize that I've gotten too many clothes and that it's time to go through and cull some things out because I don't have enough hangers for the things that I have. And this even works if you have multiple people in your family and you're doing laundry for multiple people. My husband uses a different type of hangers than I do, which may seem weird at first to use different hangers for different people, but what that enables me to do is hang his clothes up on his hangers, hang my clothes up on my hangers, and then that way I still can keep a running count and know whether I have too many clothes in my closet, and I can kind of keep that in check for myself. One other thing I encourage you to do if you tend to just accumulate too many clothes over time is to consider trying a capsule wardrobe. It's just a carefully curated group of clothes that are good things that intermix and work well together, and it keeps you thinking about what you need, what you're going to use the most, and how it makes it easier for you to get dressed because all your clothes are kind of coordinating and working well together. And anytime that we can kind of keep systems simple, then it's going to be easier to maintain them and continue to use them. When it comes to the last category of things that you bring into your house and need to bring into your house so that we can eat, it's groceries. And what I want to encourage you to do is try to go through and streamline your pantry and freezer. Do menu planning in advance when you make your grocery list so that you only buy what you need, and then try to avoid impulse purchases when you're at the store. This also really helps with your budget and with your diet if you're not buying a bunch of stuff that wasn't on your plan of what you needed. So that's going to be helpful to you. And then finally, try to just do one grocery trip per week to get most of your groceries, and then maybe one mini trip when you can get produce and things like that that you need. The second front where we can fail in creating systems that are sustainable is in just doing the regular maintenance to keep them functional. And I'll admit, this is my boogeyman of all things. It's keeping it up week after week, month after month. But like I said in one of the earlier videos, the only system that works is the one that you'll do. And the kicker on that I didn't say before is the only system that works is the one that you will do over and over and over again. So we have to work to build in these habits of maintenance of the system, or else it's going to fail eventually. I think one problem for me is that doing maintenance just doesn't feel productive sometimes. It's not like I'm creating something new or creating a new outcome or building new work. It's just doing work to get myself back up to the starting line or back to ground zero, and that doesn't feel as good as doing something new and creating something new. But the reality is that doing that regular maintenance to keep your systems working is incredibly important groundwork to keep your life and your work functioning. So how do we do that? How do we build that in? I'm pretty bad about trying to make sure that these things happen regularly, but what I want to encourage you to do, and what I'm going to try to do, is to build new habits, to create systems where we're building in the time to do maintenance so that we can create a new habit. Now, one thing that's suggested a lot on the internet, and you can watch videos about this, is to have a day that you build in time to do these kinds of catch-up things. And sometimes it's called a GYST day, or get your stuff together. That's been popularized, I think, by Kaylin Nicholson on YouTube, so check that out. And it's good to have a day, whether it's Sunday or whatever day works for you, that you are going to build in time to do some of these maintaining things. Maybe they're boring chores, maybe they're things you're not that excited about, but they will set you up to have a better, more functional week. And so I want to really encourage you to think about your schedule and find a time this coming month that you can start to regularly do that day that you get yourself together. Whatever day that is, make a list of the things that need to happen for you to maintain your systems, and check that things are still organized and put away, and that you're catching up with the things that you need to do. Like I talked about in one of my other videos about creating systems that are simple, I've had to admit the sad truth that unless something is super easy to do, I will not do it. And so I've tried to create kind of catch-all categories where I can put things until they can be filed away or put away more carefully or cleaned or maintained. And then I do what I consider interval organizing. It's kind of like doing it in intervals, just like interval or strength training. And so what I do is try to have a day, either once a week or once a month or once a quarter, depending on what type of task it is, that I will go in and kind of catch up on maintaining those systems and organizing those systems. So I want to encourage you to look at the things that you need to do regularly, figure out when and how often those need to be done, and then figure out how you can kind of schedule that in as a day that you can take care of those things. Now, if that's difficult for you to do, one of the things that I encourage you to do is to promise yourself a reward of some kind on that day, that at the end of doing all those kinds of maintenance chores, that you will have something special that you like that you're going to do for yourself that day as a reward. And that will help you look forward to it and try and make sure that you get it done every week. This is going to wrap up our series on organization, but I want to take a moment to again encourage all you creatives and right-brainers that this is something that's important for us to address kind of in the beginning, in the early stages, so that we can get value from our creative gifts or try to earn an income or a living from the things that we can do artistically and creatively. If you're getting in your own way because you're too disorganized or you can't make things happen, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And so the reason I wanted to spend this much time looking at organization is that I really want to help you to get set up in the best possible way so that you can see that your creative gift has value. We're going to continue to talk about the business side of things and the practical things that you can do to start to make some money from your art. But I'm glad that you stayed with me on this organization series because I want to challenge you, like I'm going to challenge myself, to try and set up some systems and set up some ways that you can create new habits to help yourself get a little more functional and organized so that you can continue to realize that your creative gift has value. Please subscribe to my channel and join us as we go on this journey and learn more about the ways that we right-brainers and creatives can help each other. Thanks a lot.